Hello, and you're very welcome to the Women's Rugby Pod, episode 181. Sarah Berner's in the house. Berner, how are we?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good stuff. Our third, not one, not two, but third pod of the week, previewing the opening round of the Women's Six Nations. We've heard from the coaches. Yesterday's episode, we heard from all six captains, and it's quite often that British media concentrate purely on England, but certainly home nations and that kind of stuff. Here in the Women's Rugby Pod, we heard from France and Italy as well through the translation. That was a fun edit, I can assure you. But anyway, let's just catch up with you, Berner, very quickly. Have you got all your toes and fingers left after your cold water swimming?
Yeah, still have them. I tried somewhere new. I would normally go to like a marina lake, but Amber Reed sent me a picture of this giant eel that they found in it. And ever since then, I haven't been able to go back. So yeah, I tried a different pool, and it was really nice, but it was absolutely freezing. I think it was colder than what I'd usually go in. But I had to warm up, had a nice hot chocolate, so that was worth it.
Nice. Is it one of these places, and Amber Reed is very wakeboardy, and what's the paddleboarding? No, paddleboarding, isn't it? Yeah, she's very outdoorsy with her dog, isn't she? I've seen these places, these open water swimming places now with like a tent and a sort of DIY mobile sauna. Has that place got one of those? If not suggested,
no. I might have to ask them.
Seriously, get into that. Kind of just almost like an outdoor toilet kind of tent with a sauna in it, and you get out the cold water and bang, you're in a tented sauna.
Really cool. No, but I did see. I went down to Devon a few months ago, and they had obviously people would go cold water swimming in the sea, and then they had like this little mobile sauna, like that you could then sit in the sauna and then look at the sea from, and that looked really cool.
There you are.
But it's a bit of a hike every week.
Right, that's it. Sarah Byrne and Johnny Howard going into mobile sauna business. Check us out at mobilesweatbox.com. No, please don't search that. How's the rehab? You've been in the pool for the rehab as well this week?
Yeah, I did my first water run this week. So back in doing my plyometrics and doing some running, which was really good. Challenging. You always it feels weird forgetting how to run. It was like having to remind yourself how to do it properly. But no, yeah, it's been good. Did 2 of those sessions this week. I'm really happy. I've been picking up, back in doing more squats now, stuff like that. So yeah, no, it's going well.
Good, very pleased to hear it. And you've been into camp. Look today we're going to drill down as the teams are announcing as we're recording this sort of Thursday early afternoon. We've got the Wales Scotland teams, Ireland in. We're hoping for France and Italy and England very, very shortly. We're going to deep dive into those selections and the tactics around it. But we will sort of do it in reverse order. We're going to go with Italy against England, which is 3 o'clock in the Stadio Sergio Lafranchi in Parma. The 2 games on Saturday from the Stade Marie Malvin at 2:15. It's France versus Ireland at Cardiff Arms Park, 4:45. Wales against Scotland. BBC Sport for all of those. Yeah, we're going to go in reverse order looking at these teams. But you're in the England camp this week.
Yeah.
How was the mood?
To be fair, it was actually really good. I went in, they had a bit of a longer break over the weekend, so they went in on Tuesday. I went into just the physios to look at me, catch up with everyone, still feel part of the camp, which was really nice. But yeah, everyone seems really on it. They had their game plan that they're focusing on. They had really clear instructions. They went out onto the field. They did it. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be an exciting game. It felt like an exciting England group, but also quite kind of calm and people just getting on with their job. So yeah, no, it felt really good.
You've been to a few, and it's a question I ask quite a few of the captains because I like to. I just think it's so important, the atmosphere and the environment, and everybody talks about it, but nobody kind of does a huge amount to make sure that part is right, because the mental side of it, as you know, Berner, is so important. what are the differences? And I'm not talking about the individuals, but the difference of environment from a Simon Middleton camp pre-Six Nations to a John Mitchell camp pre-Six Nations?
I think that Mitch has come in and he's very much about, he put this one slide up actually, and it was about the culture you create, and it was about the people. Then it was about like finding your why, and then it was about, okay, what's our like joint why, and that's kind of in one section, and that's something that the girls have really worked well. I myself worked really, really hard on over pre-season WXV, and it's a lot more about how does the environment bring the best out of you, and how can you be your best self in that environment, rather than trying to probably behave like an elite athlete if that's not, or a fixed way of that's the only way of being it. I think that's something I've noticed. He just wants everyone to be their best self and then fit into this, the way he wants to play and the team he wants to play, rather than it kind of being, this is what you have to do to be an elite athlete. And they're pushing everyone into that box, which is really cool. He wants everyone to just be themselves and kind of excel in that environment. And then that together with the detail and the strategy that they're putting in behind the pitch, like the staff, they sit in so many meetings. They always go up to like Beaks and go, "How's your day been?" He's like, "Whoa, a lot of meetings." Like he's a man of few words, but yeah, I've heard those a lot. But they love it. They seem the other coaches seem so energetic, and although they're probably working extremely, extremely hard, well, they are to clip and get all the detail across. Like marrying those two up together, I think it's building really nice blocks going into this massive year we're leading into. So I think it will be exciting to see where we are right now with the new people coming in. How quickly can they get on board with that, and just kind of see how it's going, how it's rolling. It'll be, yeah, feels good.
And what is it like a couple of days out? I say we're sort of Thursday now. Is it sometimes an advantage to have to travel because actually there's some energy and nervous energy and a little bit sort of used up, or especially with this round one, are you just so desperate for it to get going?
I think the first game, you just want to play. Like you've probably done 3 or 4 weeks of training in the lead up to it. You kind of get into that point where you just want them to go, so you can pick up new things to work on and see if your plans have worked. Also, it's kind of, you probably do get a bit of nervous energy leaning into a tournament, particularly around Italy. They are a strong side to play against first. They play a style of rugby which isn't always, you're like, as an opposition, not always able to control what's going to happen. They play play what you see, play the space, off the cuff stuff. And then they also have this incredible aggression and determination to continue to, front up, make hard carries, make big tackles, set piece. So they're a hard team to play against first. But if you have that nervous energy going into that game, you're going to be on your toes. You're going to be ready for that, and it's probably a good game actually to play first.
I'm Donna Kennedy, and you are listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
As we're recording, the England team has just dropped. Marley Packer will win her 100th cap out in Parma in Italy. The England team then. Ellie Kildunn is the 15, Abby Dow 14, Helena Rowland at 13. Emily Scarrett, as we all knew from weeks and weeks and weeks ago, 12, where she's been playing at Loughborough Lightning. Jess Breach 11, Zoe Harrison, and Lucy Packer are the halfbacks. Hannah Bottoman, Lark Atkin Davis, Kelsey Clifford, Zoe Allcroft, Abby Ward, Sade Cabert, Marley Packer, Sarah Beckett, your bench of Powell, Carson, Muir, Fayanati, Matthews, Hunt, Aitchison, Jones. Initial thoughts, although you may have had a bit of an inside line before, but your thoughts on that England team?
This is a strong team. I think this Six Nations, England are looking extremely strong everywhere. They have strength and depth, and when I say strength and depth, they have brilliant players sitting on the bench or not even within the squad. I mean, you're missing the likes of Tatiana Hurd from this squad totally, and anyone would die for Tat to be in their team. But, you know, you've got Emily Scarrett back, you've got Helena Rowland you've on the bench, and you've got, you know, Meg Jones that can cover kind of all those positions in the back. So I think that England are going to heavily rotate this tournament. It's going to be opportunities for everyone. They're going to try different combinations. They're going to try and see who they think works best or for what game plan they want to play. But let's just go through the front row. I think brilliant. Obviously, Hannah's back playing. Lark again. I think for me, Lark is a brilliant hooker. I love playing with her week in, week out. Well, both of those, you know, my Bristol partners. Nice to see Kelsey getting a start in that 3 shirt. Probably got the least amount of caps within that starting pack. But great that she'll get some experience. She's been playing very well for Saracen, so that's great for her. Really excited to see that. Now this partnership in the second row is just brilliant. We haven't seen this partnership for ages. So Zoe Allcroft and Abby Ward, both Zoe back from injury, Abby back from having her baby, who is absolutely adorable, by the way, Hallie, if you ever get a chance to meet her. She's gorgeous. Like, I'm so excited to see these two play. Like, for me, I love both of these players and people. And it's a great game for them to both get stuck into. Like I said, it's a hard game and they'll be on their toes a lot. It's kind of a reactions game sometimes versus Italy, just with how they love playing that free kind of flowing style of rugby. But this is a hard team. You've also got Sarah Beckett starting at 8. Now, no one wants to tackle Sarah Beckett off of the line now. If you're watching the Premiership, nobody enjoys it. She's an incredible ball carrier. And then you've got, you know, essentially you've got 2 sevens on the pitch. You've got Marley and Sardia. So you've got jackal threats everywhere, which Italy are super strong in that breakdown area. They do hunt for the ball. So I imagine that's probably why we've gone with 2 sevens. But this is an incredibly strong starting pack for England. Yeah.
And you, ladies and gents, you can't see, but Berner's literally physically excited at the thought of Zoe Allcroft and Abby Ward playing in the second row together. It's literally physically shaking almost at the thought of it. I love the way that Sadia plays. Absolutely no nonsense, physicality, loves smashing things, whether she got the ball in her hand or not. I just think that allows Marley just to go and do her stuff and rampage around, because she's such a good player with ball in hand. Yet 13 predictions right for me. I got 2 wrong. Sarah Beckett was one of them. I thought you might start Alex Matthews. And my other one didn't guess right was Helena Rowland at 13. I thought it'd go Meg Jones. But again, that back line, it's got it all, hasn't it? Absolutely everything.
It'll be really interesting to see here, because you have Lucy Packer, Zoe Harrison and Emily Scarrett. So that's your 9, 10 and 12, all who didn't go to WXV. So they haven't played internationally under John Mitchell yet. So although all 3 of them absolutely fabulous players, brilliant players, it will probably be, well, I imagine if it was myself, I'd be super daunted going out with a slightly new game plan, slightly new coach. However, I think they have been performing really well in the training camps. And I'm really excited to see how they go. It's a different combination. We've not seen it for a while. But again, incredibly strong players. Lucy Packer, brilliant little sniping little 9. You got Zoe Harrison. The boot on her is so far and accurate and gets us into the right space. Emily Scarrett, well, she's like, player of the decade, in my opinion. She's brilliant. So
it was Jessie Chamoulier, actually.
I know. She's my decade over the last 10 years. Emily Scarrett's been, right up there for me. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see them play a slightly different style of rugby. But again, I'm really looking forward to seeing them all get back out on the pitch. I'm so happy to see them back fit and recovered. Helena Rowland getting a chance at 13. Helena is kind of one of those players that can play 10, can play 12, can play 13, can play 15. It'd be interesting to see how she again works with Skaz in that area. And then a back three. I mean, you've got the best back three in a very long, like not a very long time, but pretty much in the world. You've got three excellent back three players. You've got Abby Dow, who is just, Abby Wow, isn't she? That's what we all call her. Ellie Gildan on form as well, and Jess Breach also on form, but both really good players. So, yeah, if I was Italy, I don't know, I'd be nervous looking at this team. I think it looks really strong.
If we just look at not even in the 23, Poppy Cleal, Sarah Berner, Amy Cockayne, we know Kath O'Donnell, no Rosie Gallagher, the Tatiana Hurd, we can come back to her in just a second. Emma Singh, Ella Vivas, some real quality players, not even in the 23. Really looking forward to seeing Fenati on the international stage. They're keen, very keen, clearly, to get Maddie capped and rooted in the English system rather than anywhere else. She does have New Zealand heritage. I'm surprised, as you say, it's a discovery tournament for England, isn't it? And they have the luxury to be able to pretty much pick anyone in their Six Nations squad and more than likely win the game they're about to play. But having said that, I'm not sure on the bench. Think about it last night. Tatiana Hurd brings something very, very different to the 12 shirt that England hadn't had for a while. And when she came back from injury, really made a huge impression on that team. Tough on her not in the 23. But I just wonder whether she would be on that bench as a point of difference. Do you need two footballers on that bench? Because Helena Ronan could slip to 15. She could play at 12. She could play at 10. Emily Scarrett could go to a 10 at a push and 15 and play 13. You got plenty of footballers there. I just wonder whether, or is that changing the game plan too much? That's question number one. And question number two, point that John Mitchell is going to set up his teams with almost a first 5'8" and a second 5'8", which they'd say in New Zealand, sort of two footballers at 10 and 12.
Just going back to the first question, I think what they're kind of doing for this game is they're looking at players that they probably haven't had a chance to really have a good look at in an international jersey. Although very experienced players with the new coaching staff, they haven't had a chance to look at a few of these players that are starting. If you look at the bench, you can see a lot of these players featured very heavily in the WXV, apart from Maddie, who, like you said, they obviously really like, and they want to get her involved into the English setup. So I think it's more of let's see the players we haven't had a chance to see, and then let's also make sure that we're giving our players that we have had a chance to see time to get a good foothold back into international rugby. If you're looking at Natasha Hunt, Holly Aitchison, they were kind of like your key combinations in the WXV. So they probably want them to get back into the swing of things for England rugby. The same with Mackenzie Carson. She was kind of their chosen number one during WXV. She's come back from injury. Maud Murr as well. I think we see her play a lot as well at 3. And Connie is your younger hooker. She's a little bit less experienced than Lark and Amy. However, got a lot of caps still for how young she is. So they've probably put their kind of, even though Mackenzie's new to the squad, she's actually picked up a lot of caps during her time with only really being involved in the squad for the last year or so. So they've put kind of more, I wouldn't say more experience, although I'm now looking at this team and I'm thinking they're all really, really young. But I mean, in terms of experience-wise, I can see why they've put that combination together on the bench and why they've gone out with, they've put another 2 experienced players with Kelsey, who, again, although hasn't played many caps, has also been involved with England over the last year. I think we'll probably see Tatiana feature. Like I said, I think this is going to rotate heavily. We're going to see a lot of different combinations, a lot of different people on the bench, I think anyway, because they are going to be looking at, for each game, who's going to work the best together, who's going to get the outcome that they want. And clearly for this game, they've picked players that they think they can get that from. But I don't think this will be the team that we see every week. Although I think we'll see a lot of the same faces. I think it's like you've got such amazing players to pick from. Where you put them as well, you can move them all around. It's a tough decision being the England coach. I wouldn't want it right now. No, absolutely. But that's why you earn big bucks to make these decisions. I just going to flag up, and I know Jess Breach has played plenty of rugby there for Sarah's this season. But 15, Ellie Kildunn, top of all the defender beating stats and all the rest of it. Does she include that back three the way that others might? Who's going to cover 15? I want to see Helena Ronan at 15. Anyway, Italy. They're just going to come all guns blazing, especially at home, aren't they? Yeah. The Italians. It's the first game of the Six Nations. They want to put their mark out. Sounds like they've been training incredibly hard, like every other nation has. But I think it's in Italy. It's their first game. They're trying to get big crowds to get there. I think they've invited schools and stuff down. They're trying to make it a really good, spectators game. And we always slightly, I wouldn't say struggle against Italy in the first half, but it's always a massive battle in that first half. And generally England pull away in that second half. I'm not sure we'll probably see that so dominantly this year. We might do, but I think Italy have put in a lot of work. They've had their contracts. They've been together for a lot longer. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this Italy side come out of the blocks, because last Six Nations, they really, really came out of the blocks. So it'll be great to see how they do this Six Nations. Yeah, that start is going to be really important for them. And for many of the sides outside of the top two in the Six Nations, it's keeping it on for 80 minutes, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. I think if you look at France and England, you look at the strength and depth within their squad, like we've been saying, and they can definitely play an 80-minute game. There might be a few little drop-offs here and there, but it generally comes back up. I think now we're starting to see that with the investment of the unions investing in their players, giving them full-time contracts. You're starting to see that there's incredible players kind of getting left out of a starting 15 and put on the bench, or I don't want to say left out, because I think that actually the bench players have an incredibly difficult job of finishing a game off and bringing that energy on, but not too much energy so that you make mistakes, just the right amount so you can G everyone else back up. It's great to see that coming through from other unions, and I think this will be the closest Six Nations we've had so far. Prediction? Away win? I just purely for the quality of players in the English side and the strength and depth on the bench, I am going to have to say England, but I think Italy will play some great rugby, and I'll definitely be watching, hoping for that exciting kind of Italian flair that we want to see. Yeah, and we have players like Rigoni. They can come out of absolutely anywhere, and her flair, and they'll have plenty of passion. I have to say England. Yeah, of course you have to say England. They're actually your employer. So no surprises there from Sarah Byrne. But no, we're both going for an England win. Yeah.
I'm Katie George, and you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
I know we're doing this in a slightly strange order. We've tackled the Sunday game first, but wanted to look at England, Italy. The middle game of the weekend is Wales against Scotland. That's 4:45 on BBC from Cardiff Arms Park. Hearing another bumper crowd. Two sellouts last year, didn't they? And yeah, they've got this slight advantage. They've got their 3 home games, and then one of the away games is just a little tinkle over the bridge to Bristol, which a lot of their players know very well anyway, from playing in that area. Wales, Scotland, both their teams are out. Let's go through the Wales team first. I'll just whiz through it for you if you haven't seen it. Pearce, Kelsey Jones, Tuipulotu, Natalia John, Abby Fleming, Butchers, Alex Callender, vice-captain, Bethan Lewis at number 8, Keir Bevan, Becky George are your halfbacks. Now, Metcalf was expected on one wing, Jazz Joyce on the other. Back three is made up from Jenny Hasketh. No doubt you want to speak about her. In the midfield, very, very settled, Karen Lake and Hannah Jones, who is captain. Phillips, Constable, Rose, Georgia Evans, Kate Williams, S. Jones, Neve Terry and Cox on the bench. Give us your initial thoughts on that Welsh squad.
I think that's a really strong side. I think that they have also put a few senior players onto their bench as well that they'll probably want to look at trying to finish in this game really strongly. And they've also started some youngsters as well. They've put some, or newbies, let's say, rather than youngsters. They've got Jenny Hesketh again starting. But she's in a really kind of strong setup in that back line with Jazz Joyce, Hannah Jones, Karen Lake, all senior players, and as well with Nell Metcalf, who again had an absolute stormer against Quins literally just right before the Six Nations started. So I think it's looking like a really strong team. And I think this is going to be the kind of the game of the weekend. It's going to be a massive battle.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, coaches, yes, there's credit in the bank, isn't there, and knowing what people can do in different circumstances. But generally, you're wanting teams to pick on form. And Gloucester Hartby are definitely a team in form, 13 from 13 in the PWR. And Bristol, after a little wobble over the festive period, have come back very strong in the last few weeks, both in form. That backline is entirely Gloucester Hartby, Bristol. Jazz Joyce is affiliated Bristol, but to the GB7s, isn't she? So bang in form. Jenny Hesketh, what's she going to bring to that fullback position? Yeah,
Jenny Hesketh even has she's been playing really well for Bristol. She'll provide them in that 15 channel, just someone who will comfortably catch high ball, get under the ball, and then not be afraid to run it. She also then has the ability to, having Jazz on your shoulder, she can get into those spaces, lift it up to Jazz. Jazz has got that absolute raw pace to just gas anyone on the edge. So I think it will work really well. I think they've put Jenny there. I think she definitely deserves the start. And I think just her form over the last few Premiership games has just shown how well she has been playing, how well she has been doing, and kind of punches well above her weight in her carrying ability to stay in the pitch, create good meters, beat most defenders. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing her actually have a chance to start in an international jersey and see if she can do the same thing.
As you say, in front of her, that centre partnership is one of, if not the most experienced in the Six Nations, Karen Lake and Hannah Jones. Played a long, long time together. It's an exciting back three, isn't it? And you want that from a back three. Hannah Jones yesterday talking about go out and enjoy yourself, express yourself. That's the reason you sort of started rugby, is to enjoy yourself. I'm looking forward to those guys getting the ball in hand. And then in front of them, really, really experienced 9 and Keira Bevan. Just Becky George is a form player, isn't she? She's a confidence player. That 10 shirt could be hers for, could be a decade. She's that young. But you get the sense that Mo Hunt at Gloucester Hartby just metaphorically holds the hand at times a little bit. No, don't worry, I'll take this kick. I'll take this on. I'll get her forward to do whatever. And Keira Bevan will have that same role, and it will just allow Clerkey to be herself at 10. Is that a fair enough assessment from our tight heads?
I think Mo, being one of the co-captains at Gloucester Hartby, definitely holds some of that leadership in that role and decision making. I think Keira at Bristol also has an excellent box kick, has the ability to lead games, and is also playing very well. So I think that it will help Flaky if she's under pressure, if they're charging her down, not being able to get that kick away. Having Keira there as another option who can execute and kick very, very well will be great. It will be great to have not all that pressure on Flaky to get that game space. So it'll be good to see how they do play together, how they interlink, and how they share that kicking role.
Let's look up front then. No Gwen Crabb, not quite made it. Natalia John in the second row with Abby Fleming, of course, the Harlequins player. Good front five. Been around a little bit now. Kelsey Jones playing well. Gwenny P. Purse at Lucid. Tia Palotto, we know all about her bursting on the scene. And in that back row, we wondered how that was going to configure that back row. But again, kind of in form. We expected Alicia, your Bristol teammate, to be there. As Young Cunningham spoke kind of pods ago, big fan of Alex Callender. She's vice captain, but ripping up in the Celtic Challenge. And then Bethan Lewis. Good, strong pack, that, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got a really strong pack. Their front row there, all three playing well in the Premiership. All three very experienced. Have been kind of, classic points in their set piece, in their scrum for the last few years now. Very hard to stop as well. Short range, Gwen Llian, huge carrier. Cecilia, again, huge carrier. Kelsey Jones, a lot of pace. Again, another big carrier. Natalia John, another big carrier. I feel like their whole front five are strong ball carrying players. They've definitely gone with kind of that experienced pack around there. And I imagine set piece is probably what they're chasing with the back row that they've picked. All jumping options. You have Alicia, you've got Alex Callender, you've got Bethan Lewis. All jumping options, as well as, you've got Natalia John, again, a jumping option, and Abby Fleming. So you've got, 5 jumping options there. Makes it incredibly hard to mark if you don't have the same amount of numbers on the opposition line out. And also fly across the floor brilliantly, kind of those light athletic players. Again, Bethan Lewis playing so well in the Premiership. Alicia Butchers, again, as I keep saying, making line breaks for Bristol. And Alex Callender, like I said, has apparently been playing really well in the Celtic Cup. So, yeah, I think that's a really, really strong pack and a very strong team from Wales. You also can't forget you've got Karis Phillips on the bench. You've also got Donna Rose on the bench. Players that, again, experienced, play for Wales a few times, playing well at their Premiership clubs. And, for me, George Evans is a brilliant player. The fact they've had to put George on the bench because this is the kind of pack that they're going to go with shows, she's been really good for Saracens. She gets in the way. She's a strong carrier. She's a little bit taller than all of them as well. So she has that height with her. So I think that there probably is a plan to try and win that last 20 minutes of the game, because with this game, the last 10 minutes, that's where it's going to be won or lost.
And it's always ding-dong battles. A couple of things off that. Number one, Natalia John's had a hell of a time of late, and with injury and a few personal bits. Just absolutely delighted to see her back in a Welsh shirt. Well done, you. A true story of determination and self-belief. Well done, Natalia. We had her on the pod a couple of months ago. If you want to go back and hear that, she's brilliant. But yeah, that was the first thing that I noticed about this squad was, Karis Phillips, Donna Rose, George Evans, Kate Williams, all forwards, and then you got Neve Cherry, Sian Jones, and Karis Cox. Delighted to give her to Karis Cox, the former Worcester back three player. But there's real strength in depth. You're leaving George Evans out, as you say. Saracens find a place for George Evans to start every week with its second row, back row. You can't get this Wales squad now, and I know it's the horses for courses, but that's massive, the strength, and as you say, to come off the bench, it's beginning to get to be, whereas John Mitchell was talking about choosing 3 Red Roses sides that he could. The other nations don't have that, and it's closing that gap. That's the big aim, isn't it? And with a bench like that, let's look at the Scotland squad first before we sort of go into where the game is going to be won and lost. Let's just race through that Scotland squad for you. We said it's settled for some time, and indeed it is, with a few little tweaks in there. We went 1 to 15, didn't we, with Wales? Let's go, just to confuse everyone, let's go 15 to 9 and then 1 to 8. Meryl Smith of Bristol Bears at 15, Rona Lloyd with Corinne Grant of Saracens making up the back 3. Emma Orr and Lisa Thompson, fairly standard there. Helen Nelson at 10 is the vice captain. Katie Mattinson at 9 across the Hartbury scrum half. Leah Bartlett, Alana Skelder, Christy Bilal from Loughborough is your front row. Wassell and Bonner in the second row. Dr. Rachel Malcolm. She does get very, very annoyed if you don't put in the doctor. Alex Stewart at 7, uncapped, and Evie Gallagher at 8. The bench is Ellis Martin, Molly Wright, Elianne Clark, Louise McMillan. I'm already beginning to think the same about Wales here, aren't you? Rachel McLaughlin, Mary McDonald, Shona Campbell from GB7, and Chloe Rowley at 23. What jumps out at you off the page for that Scotland 23?
For me, it's the their starting back line are all kicking options or near enough. Meryl Smith has been kicking for Bristol. Like you've got Helen Nelson again, huge kicker for Loughborough. Katie Mack can also box kick. So I think that they've gone for more of a kicking game. They want to try and get Wales moving around, getting into space, or putting. They've got Rona Lloyd back. They've got that raw pace again on the edge. I would imagine that they're putting they know that Flaky is going to be kicking in Wales into space. And they've put Meryl there to receive the ball and kick it back and let Rona go and get it. I think that they're probably looking at how do we kind of outsmart them? How do we know that they're going to kick, get the ball back, and then where's the space to attack? And that's kind of what I see from Scotland's backline, is that they've got a very attacking, a lot of all options on kind of backline that they've picked. Really strong.
And Meryl Smith, because she's had some games at 12 as well, hasn't she? Mm-hmm. And she's at 15 here. She's got all three threats, hasn't she? Kick, hand, and the running option. She's a good footballer. She's going to bring a different player to Chloe Rowley, isn't she? She's going to bring a different element to that back three. And I'm almost seeing a sort of Freddie Stewart and George Furbank, different kind of players. Not saying who's better or not, but just saying Meryl Smith might just bring in that back three and that the Emma Orrs, the sort of those backfield players in a little bit more than Chloe Rowley might.
Potentially. For me, I actually think that they've probably chosen a bench which are going to come on and inject a lot of flair and energy. You've got Chloe Rowley, a very kind of wants to attack, wants to be on the ball, wants to chip and chase, wants to run with it as well. You then got Elianne Clark as well, who is a runner. She wants to be on the shoulders. She wants to receive those offloads and get those line breaks in. Same, you've also got Louise McMillan and Rachel McLaughlin as well. They're also great forwards to have within that. So I think that they are also looking at when the game is getting tired, 60 minutes in, 50 minutes in, how do we raise that energy? How do we bring that energy up? And again, catch Wales off guard. And I think that's probably why we're seeing Chloe Rowley on the bench here potentially. With Meryl, you still have the ability to run, to carry and to put people in space, but she has a hell of a boot. And she's a good kicker. I think it's more to do with the fact that they know Flaky George is going to be the 10, and how do they get back onto the front foot when they know they're going to be pinged back into their 22? How do they get out of that space? And that's why we're probably seeing Meryl, as well as that. Obviously, she's been playing very well as well. But I think technically that might be a reason why. But again, that's a really, really strong back line from Scotland and a really strong bench. So that you're seeing the strength and depth coming through. And like I said, this is going to be a massive battle.
Did you see the old statues in Scotland?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my word! Check out the social media. I should know what city it is, but huge, great big, and to do with their sponsors. Scottish Gas, other gas companies are available. Lisa Thompson, Donna Kennedy, and Fran McGee, great big statues in the middle of town, and they did a photo shoot with the three of them, and really cool. I've got a lot of time for Donna Kennedy, legendary figure, most capped Scottish player of all time. Yeah, no Fran McGee, obviously a bump or a bruise there. Would have liked to have seen her. Suspect she may well have started, but Corinne Grant's been playing well for Saracens. As you say, in their back three. Let's just have a quick look at their pack then. My eye is immediately drawn to 7 and Alex Stewart. He's played for the Costerfine Cougars, uncapped, in amongst an incredibly settled and experienced 7 around him. In the least amount of caps before her is 30.
Yeah, that's an extremely experienced pack. Yeah, Alex Stewart, this just shows why having the Celtic Challenge is such a good thing to have. It's for those players that, don't want to play in the Premiership clubs or can't play in there for job or whatever reason. It's great that you're seeing Scottish players coming through, and Welsh players coming through. And it's brilliant to see that. Like Alex Stewart, again, I haven't seen much of it because I've mainly focused on the Premiership, but it's great that she's got a start, and it's great that they're kind of protecting her with the seniority around her. But it means that if something goes wrong, you're nervous on your first cap, you've got a lot of people you can turn and speak to, or they can pat you on the back and know, oh, that's how I felt, don't worry about it. It's good to have that and feel really secure. So that's great to see. But I would also say you've got Rachel Malcolm there and Evie Gallagher, both playing really well in the Premiership. Both kind of the aggressive players. They want the ball. They want to also defend. If they don't have it, they want to get it back. And then again, in the line-out, you've got Sarah Bonner, Emma Wazzle, brilliant line-out callers, brilliant jumpers, which will be really interesting to see how they do. They are taller. They're a taller pack than Wales have picked, slightly, very slightly. But that's purely just based on... do you know what? That might be absolute rubbish. That's just based on what I think or how I see them. Which will be interesting to see how that line-out goes. But I have to say, Leah Bartlett, Christine, I can never say it right. Bilal,
yep.
And Lana Skeldon. That's a really strong front row. Leah, those 3 people are hard to scrummage against, and that, the clash between, sorry to bring it back to the scrum again, but tight head always is going to do that. The battle between Wales's front row and this front row, and the experience that both of them have had over the last few years, that is going to be a big battle, and that is going to probably throughout the whole game dictate kind of who gets that first foothold in the game, who's going to get that momentum swing. It's going to be who can dominate that scrum, that set piece element to it.
I make that 4/5. Looking at sort of 7s players, I know Jazz Joyce is affiliated to Bristol that aren't playing in the English Premiership. So the PWR is doing wonders for many, many nations. And the Doc captain, she's been announced again. Rachel Malcolm knows her stuff, didn't she? She called out Alex Stewart in the pod yesterday as one to watch, an out 7, which said Evie Gallagher and Rachel McLaughlin 6.5s almost, aren't they? And can play at 8 as well, but having an out open side 7. So from summarization, from what you've been saying, and we must round up this game, although I'm loving the analysis, I could talk about it all day. Kicking game and set piece in particular line out are where this game is going to be won and lost.
Yeah, if you're playing a kicking game, you need to have your set piece. To be fair, most games, you need to have your set piece. If you don't have a platform to play off, it becomes extremely challenging to keep the momentum, to keep the ball. So I do think scrum, line out, who can retain the most ball of that, who can make the most errors. Particularly, I think for Scotland, if they can steal and mess up Wales's ball, or mess up how Wales want to play in terms of kicking into those right spaces. So, and with kind of the back 3 that Scotland have picked, I think it will be interesting to see kind of how that defensively works out. What's their counter attack going to be? Because I think that probably would have been something that Scotland have really heavily focused on this week. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a really tough game, a really exciting game for spectators. But for a player, it's gonna be right down to that final whistle.
Yeah, it has been a slight Achilles heel of the line out, hasn't it? Oh, we'll see. Come on, prediction.
It's going to be really tight. I'm just going to predict. Maybe I think someone's going to score by a try.
Single score, you mean? Single score to be that tight.
Yeah, and it's going to be late. And I feel, I don't know.
Berner, come on. It's been tight between these two since the Doomsday, since Rugby Records recorded. So that's no prediction. I want more from you. It's always tight between these two. I'm going home win. I'm going home win.
You're going where, sorry?
Home win.
Home win.
Wales to win because they're at home.
I'm going Wales as well, and Wales will want to be prepping for England. Like that's a game that they want to be looking at. People want to be putting their hands up, and it's a 6-day turnaround, so it's going to be a tight turnaround. I think I'm going to go Wales, but I think only just.
Only just Wales for both of us. Do you hear that, Meryl? Anyway, that is Wales, Scotland rounded up. Well, let's get you up to date with the rest of the news from around the world. Here's Rori Taylorson.
Another hugely exciting week as the Six Nations is upon us here in Europe. I'm Rori Taylorson from the Valkyries at Wadebridge Vandals, and here's the news from around the globe. Yes, the Six Nations is finally here. Start your engines for round 1, as it all starts at the Stade Marie-Marve in Le Mans, France, as France hosts Ireland at 2:15. And at 4:45 at the Cardiff Arms Park, Wales take on Scotland. And on Sunday, the venue is Parma. The Stadio Sergio Lafranchi at 3 p.m. It's Italy against the reigning champions, England. It will be the Netherlands who will be heading to the WXV3 after beating Colombia at the weekend, 33-11, in front of a record crowd in Amsterdam. Super Rugby Aupiki in New Zealand. It was round 3 at the weekend. Hurricanes Poa lost at the Blues women, 52-5, while Chiefs Manawa defeated Matatu, 38-22, in a thriller. That leaves Chiefs Manawa still unbeaten in the opening 3 games. This week, Hurricanes Poa host Chiefs Manawa on Friday night at 4:35 p.m. at the Trust Arena, and on Saturday at Eden Park, same time, 4:45 p.m. the Blues women face Matatu. In Australia, the Super Rugby women kicked off their season. Queensland Reds started their campaign with a loss at home to Fijiana Drua. The New South Wales Waratahs women beat the ACT Brumbies 45-10, and the Western Force were triumphant over Melbourne Rebels women. This week it's the Rebels and the Brumbies on Friday night. On Saturday, Fijiana Drua hosts the Waratahs, and the Red travel to the Force. Short and sharp this week. Hope you enjoy your rugby wherever you are this weekend. I know I'll be cheering on England. This is Rori Taylorson signing off. Come on, Red Roses!
I'm Jill Burns, and you're listening to the wonderful Women's Rugby Pod.
The final game, and we've got a reverse here, is France against Ireland in Le Mans. Apparently they've managed to seed some of the Formula One track, so we're all good to go for the game. That's first up on Saturday. All these games on BBC Sport for you on the iPlayer on the main channel. 2:15 from the Stade Marie-Marve. Ireland against France. What have you made of this Ireland squad, which is 15 Delaney, 14 Corrigan, 13 Higgins, 12 Dalton, 11 Parsons, 10 Foley, 9 Riley. And number 1 is Linda Dugang, Neve Jones at 2, Haney at 3, Dorothy Wall, Hannah O'Connor two back rows normally in that second row. Wafer at 6, Adele McMahon Tricky at 7, the captain, and Brittany Hogan at 8. Got Delaney, O'Dowd, McGrath, Tuti, Moore, Scuffle McCabe, O'Brien, Dealey on the bench. Initial thoughts?
Good, strong Ireland side. I think Linda is a brilliant loose head for Ireland and has been for the last few years. So from a pack perspective, I think, her Niamh Jones again, absolutely brilliant player who gets through a lot of work for Gloucester Hartpury. Great to see those two getting the start there. Sad to not see Sam Morahan. I hope she's okay and recovering well. She's been, again, really on form for Gloucester. But I guess the main talking point is how they have their sevens players back. They have Parsons back, who has been a key feature for them in previous years. I feel like that's come a little bit from Scott. I know they weren't allowed in last Six Nations. They're back in this Six Nations, which is just going to make their team a lot stronger. Get you get those free attacking options. That's when you want your really fast players to get on the ball, or your explosive, powerful players to get on the ball. It's looking strong from my perspective. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're trying to unearth as many players as they can, aren't they? And obviously the Celtic Challenge has helped doing that. I think Sam Monahan is a big loss, although always been a big fan of Dorothy Wall. She sort of international debut at 6, didn't she? Hannah O'Connor, the Leinster number 8, a couple of years ago was the talk of the town, was going to be the next big thing. She's in that second row. So that back 5 is almost 5 back rowers. And I know it's a little bit in vogue. Allcroft can certainly play in the back row. You look at Wales with Fleming, Gwen Crabb, Natalia John. Those players can play 6 as well. But I think it's a really mobile pack. But you know what it's like. France in France, you have to stand tall and you can't take a backward step. And that physical battle and staying in that physical battle for the 80, I think it will be Ireland's biggest challenge.
Yeah, I think France are a really powerful team. They have they're very physical, they're very fit. They have very good kicking rugby. They also play a nice kind of exciting rugby to watch. They have an all-court game, I want to say, and they are not afraid to just absolutely batter the doors down. Their defensive systems, although we don't know the team right now, from Fall is an incredible defender. You've got Menage, again, incredible defender. I'm sure we'll see some new players as well in that French team coming through. But yeah, Ireland are going to have to really be ready for this fight, because I imagine France will be coming to, cause havoc and rain on England's party. I imagine they want to, and this is their first game of the tournament. They'll want to get a good foothold in the game. They'll want to make a statement. Likewise, I think Ireland will want to do that as well. But just going off of previous years, France are a strong side. And I hope having the new coaching staff and having kind of the new setup that Ireland have, that they are filled with energy and excitement to go out and just give it their absolute best shot. I think it'll be nice to see this new Ireland under Scott Bemand.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, because as you say, the Hermes, not late announcing France, so we're not going to get full details on them because we just don't have the team time of record. But Escudero, both the Ménagers, whether it be the winger or the back row, high on the tackle stats from last year's Six Nations, high on the turnover stats from last year's Six Nations. So Ireland will be certainly up against it. I know they're really looking forward to seeing Nicole Foley back at 10. And Bavin Parsons, if you can get her some space. Katie Corrigan, again, really, really good, ripping it up in the Celtic Challenge. And Niamh Higgins, who's an absolute delight of a player at 13. and then you've got some real experienced, calm head Lauren Delaney at fullback. So yeah, it's all there for Ireland. Big old challenge. And as Sam was saying to me the other day, you know, the goal is to qualify for the World Cup. Now, just to let you know, we're still yet to have confirmation from World Rugby about the qualifications for the World Cup and WXVs off the back of this tournament. As we understand it, we think 5 will qualify out of the 6 for the World Cup from the 6 nations. And the last person in 6 would have 2 more chances. Likely the first one will be a playoff with Spain, and the second one we're unsure of. So, yeah, that's looked like what it is. We'll get confirmation from World Rugby hopefully soon, and we'll detail that as and when. Let's have a prediction then, Sarah Byrne.
France.
Home win.
Yeah. It's also a very hostile environment to go into. The French fans love France. So it doesn't matter who they're playing. They will boo the other team. You will see a stadium full of French flags. So having that behind you, that kind of like enormous support and intimidation, I think France will get this home win, yeah.
And that, yeah, Katie Corrigan, she's 19. As I say, you're playing in the Celtic Challenge across to Le Mans, playing France in the opening 6 nations. It's a different kettle of fish, and you just don't know how players are going to react. So that is a big factor. But we both go for I always find it better, Berner, if you just say like a home win or away win. You don't actually say the team, and therefore you don't really feel like you're insulting them. So we're both going home win.
Home win. Sorry.
Home win. No, great stuff. Wow, Berner, loads and loads in there. It's really, it's sad as I am. It's like Christmas Eve. Start of another 6 nations. Absolutely fascinated. More England's game plan and see how that's going to. Yeah, it's properly John Mitchell's baby now, and just see what the shoots of that game plan. I can't wait to see the likes of Ireland and Wales and Scotland, because I think they're going to improve loads more again. France are always interesting. Love the way that Italy play. Where are you going to be watching with a soft drink in hand, no doubt, Sarah, while doing your leg exercises with the stretch band? Yeah.
I'm actually doing some punditry for BBC on the weekend, so I'll be watching in studio the Italy-England game on the Sunday, which will be really fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah, which I'm nervous, but looking forward to. I think it will be good. And then the other 2 games, I think Tatiana is going to come over to Bristol, and we'll probably just chill out, watch it here, or yeah.
Oh, nice. A little sofa bed of roses. Honestly, here all week. Well, you enjoy that. Can't wait for the opening 6 rounds. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Thank you to Tom. And just to let everybody know, still check out our socials. Gary Street's silent auction is still running. There's loads and loads of prizes, not just rugby prizes. Hotels, visits, holidays, golf experiences, chef experiences, memorabilia, signed shirts, Sia Khaleesi, Johnny Wilkinson, tickets, all the rest of it. Go to our socials for that one. Do what you can, and the GoFundMe page for Streets Ahead is still going on as well. So do check those out. Really enjoy your opening